Welcome back, everybody, to Buzzed In. I'm your host, Relics.
Are we really?
Yeah,
I'm
they just said we're live.
Hey, sorry.
And I'm Corey. Corey.
All rough. It just one can only wonder with the tennis racket his caddy's making him use. What can he do here? Ooh, the flipsy dipsy. Give it to me! Give it to me!
And until then,
Stay buzzed in.
Stay buzzed in.
I've been to the year 3000.
I would have known Justin Bieber before I know Jonas.
Yes. And you're great,
All right.
great.
Please, for the love of God.
Thanks, baby. Welcome back to Buzzed In, everybody. Episode 13. I'm your host, Relics. It's been a while. We haven't seen each other in quite some time. Easter was yesterday, so first of all, happy Easter to you and your families. I know things are a little different this year for that holiday. A lot of us probably aren't together. I know Rebecca and her family hopped on a Zoom call with like 18 different cameras from different places in the country, Alabama, Indiana, Ohio. It's cool that we still have some sort of way like that to connect. It's unfortunate that we're going through the time we are right now. I think hopefully we're about done, though. The curve seems to be starting to hit the peak. Obviously, lives have been lost. It's unfortunate. But really, what's life going to be like after it? The economy could be bad. People's lives will change. Some people will still probably quarantine afterwards. We've been quarantining. Rebecca doesn't let me go anywhere. I have to sneak out to golf. I got to, slip a roofie in her drink so she stays asleep so I can go golf. Because she doesn't want me to go anywhere. And when I do go anywhere and when I do anything, I have to use hand sanitizer, which is all good. She's trying to keep me healthy. Also, I can't have people over, which is why none of the co-hosts are going to be here. And I say I can't, and she makes me and all that, but I'm appreciative of it. I'm sure that if I was not with her, I'd probably already get it because I'm pretty reckless. And I'm not really worried about getting it myself so much. The only reason why I am is because I don't want to carry it to parents, grandparents, the more at-risk population. I'd hate to know I was the reason why someone I care about got sick. We have some friends who got sick. One of my best friends, his wife got it. She works in hospital, and their child got it, and he got it, which I think they're all good now. I think they're about to finally break their quarantine, which is good. It's crazy, man. It seems like now everybody knows somebody who had it or has it. And luckily, we're starting to see a lot of recoveries and just got to hope that when we finally do beat this thing, it doesn't come back. But anyways, Easter, it didn't stop me from eating. Rebecca and I went over to her parents' house, just the four of us, though, smaller than 10. And we ate dinner. Dinner was bomb. We have a ton of leftovers. We're probably going to have dinner tonight with that, I assume. So yeah, since last time we saw each other, I know at first I took a little break because we went to Arizona, and that was a great time as usual. And that was right around the time it really started to hit the U.S. It was kind of weird. So it was like we went to Arizona, which, by the way, has to be full of some of the most at-risk population in the U.S. So you think if anyone was freaking out, it'd be them and their government. But things were kind of normal for the week we were there. We went out, we went to an aquarium, we went and saw all these things like we normally do when we're in Arizona, sightseeing, and, everybody was fine. Everybody was out and about, maybe saw a mask or two. When we went to the grocery store, it was empty, though, so some people were definitely aware. We flew back, and luckily we were able to fly back, and the Columbus airport was empty. All the restaurants were closed. The people that were in there were wearing masks. I've never seen it like that. And, ever since then, everyone's been locked down and quarantined. Now grocery stores are limiting who all can go in. And but I think we're starting to get to the point you can see on social media that the general population of America, for the most part, it seems like younger folks are starting to kind of get sick of being quarantined. And I think that I don't think it'll be much longer, not by the government say, but by the people say. I don't think that the people have the patience much longer to be quarantined. So yeah, that's been my life, man. Arizona was cool. And then we came back and, we we've just been sitting inside, watched a lot of movies, almost hammered out the entire Marvel series for the newest Marvel Universe releases, all 22 movies or whatever. Been playing a lot of Xbox. Golfed a couple of times because they closed golf courses and they open back up, but it's one person per golf cart. So to be honest with you, my life's not very different. I think most of the time I'm at home with Rebecca, or I'm at work, which I have been working from home for the most part because I, I'm essential. And so not much has been different. I've been golfing. I mean, that's pretty much my hobbies. Golf, video games, Rebecca, and then working. And that's what I've been doing. So sometimes I find myself having to, like, remind myself that this actually is happening because my life doesn't feel much different, except for the fact that I'm not just willy-nilly going to the grocery store whenever I think I need something, trying to keep it to once a week, if that. So, but no, everything's good with us. I hope, if you're watching, thanks for your patience and holding out and, the break we've had here at Buzzed In. And thank you for tuning into this episode if you have. Hopefully you guys liked the last couple we released where we broke it up into 2 parts. I think whenever the episode runs like an hour, that's what I'm going to do because, let's be honest, no one has the time to sit there for 60 minutes and watch me. It probably hurts to look at my face for 5 minutes, so we'll definitely split that into 2 parts that way. But nah, man, it's all good. We're definitely not stopping Buzzed In. I know that's always like the worry whenever someone goes that long with a break. That's not the case at all. The guys are chomping at the bit to get on the show again. That's like all we've been talking about together when we're golfing is how much they want to be here and be on the show. We'll see. If we're still quarantined next episode, maybe I'll do record like a Zoom call with them so we can get them back on the show in some fashion. But no, it's all good. I've been trying to pay attention to stories, but it's hard to watch the news or gather, viral headlines or anything because everything is about COVID. Everything. Not saying that it shouldn't be, but everything is. I did see this though, which was pretty funny. Or not funny, I guess, so much as I thought, it was new to me. I'd never heard of it, but I think it's a super cool thing. And I'm just going to play a little clip for you guys here off NBC News. And what it is a gathering. It's a event, like a festival almost, that this mayor had put on. He started in 1994 in a French town of Pluqueduc. And that is the most American way to pronounce that French town. Pluqueduc. Not at all what it's called. It's never actually been called that by anybody unless you're as American as I am. And I don't even know how to attempt it. But anyways, this mayor, I think it said like in 1994. We'll see on the video. I could be a couple years off. He started this festival in his town, and he's no longer the mayor because he had twins for daughters. And I think it was a way for them to be around which is a really cool story. And it probably started off small, but anymore... I think this one, they said, even during the quarantining and stuff in Europe, got hit just as hard as we did. And they still had this festival, and there was like 1,500 twins. There were quadruplets, triplets, and it's just fascinating to see all of them together, and they all tried to like dress similar. It's really neat, all the different things they're doing. So I saw that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to share that. Almost any news article you can find where people look happy and they're enjoying themselves. And, is it great to be breaking quarantine? No, but I mean, all this gloom and just like almost sadness, it's nice to see. I mean, surely people that are quarantined, I try to think about that too, because it's like people that are quarantined that maybe don't play video games or heck, even are single, don't have a significant other or whatever. Some people out there with, some mental health capacity issues are probably struggling through this, not being able to do the things outdoors that they normally do or, whatever have you. I mean, I guess at least we can still walk around the parks. Rebecca and I have been doing that, but I mean, the twins are getting together though. It's kind of weird to see that many in one gathering. It almost messes with your head after watching it for so long. I'd like to go though. That'd be neat. So yeah, man, that's it. Definitely, I mean, while I'm sitting here going on about things that, I've been doing during all this, I'd like for you to drop comments below. I'm sure it'd even help out each other if you came up with stuff to do. Rebecca did this awesome puzzle. I'll throw a picture up of. Well, I say Rebecca did it. She did a little bit of it. I pretty much did all of it. But anyways, no, I think I put like 10 puzzle pieces in there. And it was a pretty hard puzzle. You know, it took her 30 days, but who's counting? And it looks pretty sweet. And that's what she's been doing. And we're trying to get another puzzle. But for the first time in the history of forever, puzzles are sold out everywhere. So I can't even order her another one. And her parents should have puzzles, but they don't. And that's the least parent thing to have, is 0 puzzles. Anyways, so we're trying to find things to keep her busy. I think next week I'm going to get her out golfing. Corey that you saw in the last episode when we had 4 people here, not the usual Corey, the new Corey that wore the scarf. He's coming down this week, or up this week, from Cincinnati to go golfing. I think he's going crazy too, because he likes to go out a lot, and he's not working right now. He's not able to go out with his friends to the bars and stuff. And he always told me he wasn't really interested in playing golf, and now he's like, dude, I'll drive 2 hours to play golf. So I think he's going nuts too. So looking forward to that. So yeah, we're just living life, and things are weird, but we're muscling through. We're living life. Still working. This weekend I actually did have to go into work 2 days and then worked from home 1 day. And the 2 days I worked at, so what my office is doing is, we normally have about 40 people in office, 40 to 50. They're only allowing 25% of people in office. So we're on sort of like a tri-weekly rotation. And so this was my weekend to go in, and it's like a ghost town in there. The phones aren't ringing. We still have drivers out on the road. Obviously, I work in transportation for Walmart, so drivers are still having to get freight places, which is why I still have a job right now, which I'm very thankful for, and I'm very thankful for our drivers, and I'm very thankful for the company I work for. I feel like Walmart's definitely kind of paving the way. I think the vice president of the country even went to a Walmart distribution center in Gordonsville, Virginia, I think, which is probably just the closest one to DC if I had to guess. And kind of did like a press conference there saying Walmart was paving the way, and also to kind of calm down the panic around the nation, because, everyone right now thinks that they can't get any groceries, so they stocked up way too much. Which, a little insight on that, it's kind of crazy, because it's like sales at our grocery stores like 3 weeks ago were higher than they've ever been for any holiday or peak season, and now they are very, like, volume's super low, and it just goes to show that everyone's stocked up on stuff they didn't need, and now they got way too much, or they're out of money. But the stimulus check is coming soon. Actually, it's probably going to hit this week sometime, I think. I didn't even check my bank account today. And we're trying to find something to do with ours, with mine. Because, there's people, like I said, we're fortunate enough. Rebecca's not working. She's still being paid. I'm fortunate enough to still be working. So, we could use the stimulus check, but we're both getting the full $1,200, and we definitely don't need that. So if you have if you're in a similar boat and you're thinking of doing something with your stimulus check to help people, we had considered, Rebecca's mom had offered the idea of maybe, catering a meal to like a group of first responders here in the city, or hospital workers, or grocery store workers, the frontline people out there that are risking themselves to make sure we all have what we need. And that's a cool idea. I'm also thinking about maybe cleaning up a local park here in Grove City with it, getting a bunch of people to come out and help clean up the park. And so I don't know, but if you're thinking about doing something with yours, or you're now thinking about doing something with yours, because you don't need it, then reach out to me, shoot me a message. You guys have all of our social medias down below, or if you have my number, shoot me a text, message me on Twitter, message Buzzed In on Facebook, post on the page. Any ideas you have, any links, anything you would like to be a part of too. Maybe we can do a meetup 6 feet apart and get something done with ours. I'd like to help the community somehow, or someone who needs it. So that's what we're doing with that. But for the people who do need it, if you're watching, that's great. I think it's awesome that the government's sending that. So yeah, look forward to that $1,200. I think the thought process of it is to help stimulate the economy. Maybe have you order from local businesses so they stay afloat. But with a lot of people probably going into this quarantine unprepared, I don't see a lot of people spending all that. I see consciousness with savings for Americans going up from this. So a lot of people will probably just stockpile it. Hopefully some people spend it. It's a big worry right now that a lot of local businesses, all jokes aside, will not be able to come back from this, which is unfortunate. You're going to see streets with buildings that are closed and buildings you normally go to, your family's always going to, or you may even know the business owners, so you already know that they're struggling or whatever it is. In other news, to jump off the COVID train for a second, I found this story, which I felt like was completely revolutionary and needs to happen immediately. Smart toilet recognizes users' backsides, analyzes poop is the headline. And quite literally, it has pressure sensors and motion sensors and a stool camera and an anus camera. Okay, never mind. Maybe this shouldn't happen. I didn't read the specs on this. I don't like anything called a stool camera. To be exact, I don't like anything called stool ever. But the fact that there is a anal print scan, oof. And this is real, by the way. The article was produced on April 7th. It says a team of Stanford University scientists announced they have designed a smart toilet that identifies the user by the shape of their backside and monitors the health of their waste. I mean, that'd be cool, because a lot of people don't realize that, but you can tell a lot about any animal's health that's about as far as I know, but by their waist. There's tests you can run, or just by the way it looks, or maybe the texture of it, or whatever. Lead researcher Sanjeev Gambhir, which again is probably the most American way to say that name, said he and his team developed the Precision Health Smart Toilet to recognize users and use algorithms to analyze the health of their urination and bowel movements. So essentially what it is when you get on the toilet, it knows you. It recognizes, okay, this is Relics. He's taking a dump, and then I dump, and apparently there's a camera that watches it, which, are we creating jobs out of this? Is there someone in the headquarters somewhere that just watches everybody's poop and shoots you a text that's like, hey man, saw your poop this morning, gotta tell you, not looking good. Because who applies? How much does that person get paid? I guess it'd be a rather easy job. That, or even maybe even getting the text that's otherwise, hey man, saw your poop this morning, nice, it looked great, man. And honestly, it took you 20 minutes, but you were going, and you got it done. And I don't know what you had to eat last night, but it smells weird. And I doubt that they're able to smell it, but if they are, it's a smart toilet, so they might be able to. Maybe that's one thing they have to take in mind. So I thought that was an interesting story. I haven't even invested in a bidet, so I don't see myself buying a smart toilet, but if you're worried about your poo, it might be cheaper than a doctor visit. We'll have to see what Stanford comes up with that. What else here? I think I had one more story. Oh, this was kind of cool. Comfort from a 102-year-old who has lived through a flu pandemic, the Depression, and World War II. So we're in 2020. So they're referring to the flu of 1918. So this person didn't really live through that. They were born around it, and I think their parents told them. Lucille Elson. And she was they interviewed her pretty much. She was born December 30th, 1917. So her first year of life was during the flu of 1918. And it says Elson has been going through the letters, newspaper clippings, and other stuff. She calls it mumbo jumbo. She's kept over a century. It all reminds her of what's gripping the country, the feeling of being stuck inside and a bit scared and of not knowing what the future holds. Because apparently, so technically she sort of lived through the flu of 1918. She lived through the Great Depression, right? And then she lived through the World War II. And so she was pretty much trying to provide soothing to everyone's panic, because she's lived through it. She's been through it. She's 102. And she's saying this doesn't feel much different than most of those events when they were all quarantined and had to stay inside and so forth. And she also even went on to say she knows people are worried about their weddings having to be postponed or canceled, and she had to do that herself during those times. So it's cool to hear from someone who's been around that long and kind of lived through all these things. You know, for a lot of us, this is something completely new, but it's not necessarily the first time. I think it's just the first time we were talking about the flu of 1918 and how devastating it was, but it was nothing like this one, in the sense that people really had no idea. I mean, people talked about it on the news, but, you know, businesses didn't shut down, people weren't quarantined, people weren't, staying socially distant or whatever have you, wearing masks and things like this. And so they weren't as prepared, and it's good that we are prepared, but again, there's a sense of, by not allowing people to go out and, maybe you just keep the at-risk population at home and everyone else goes out along their normal lives, because only by getting this can you actually build an immunization to it. And if you don't build the immunization, this could flare back up next year. I just heard a story about someone getting a case of Ebola in another country, which is wild. Like, we all thought Ebola had been gone, and apparently that's not the case. So, and like I said, that's about all I had for stories, and I forgot about the one with Elson there, being 102 years old, kind of talking about coronavirus. I wanted to try to keep the stories off of it. You know, I want to talk to about, my experience with you guys, and I would love for you to comment below with your experience to me, but I'm tired of the headlines and the articles, and it's just all doom and gloom. There's not enough positivity out there. We need to be talking about the positive thing. I mean, all you hear is affected cases and deaths. You never hear about the recovery numbers and, the stories coming out from it. And I think it's really neat whenever people that have it or had it make videos or blogs or whatever it may be to try to share their experience, so you kind of know what to expect for when you do get it. And it, for some, it may cause panic because you didn't realize it was that bad. For others, it may soothe your panic because you thought it would be a lot worse. And I know it affects everyone differently, but to be honest, Rebecca and I had talked about it. What we would be most worried about it if we had got it is the test. Because they have to stick, a 9-foot Q-tip into your nostril until it touches the back of your head, which is wild to me. That's the most 1905 way to test something I've ever heard of before in my life. That sounds like something out of a black and white movie. It's like, oh, you have a cold. Let's make sure it's not the Spanish flu. Let me go get my Q-tip rod and shove it to the back of your skull. The fact that we don't have just for example, I got my temperature checked at work, because now when you go into the building, they have to check your temperature. And I walk in and I open up my mouth, expecting that to be the thing, because I haven't had my temperature checked since I was a kid. But when I was a kid, that was the thing. So I did that right away. And she just pulls out this gun and holds it to my head. And she goes, "You're good." And I was like, man, I don't even know if that actually works. And I know it doesn't work right, because when they first checked it, it was you're reading 92 degrees. So I'm dead. But I wasn't dead. It was because I walked in from outside and it was very cold outside. And then 10 seconds later, I warmed back up and they checked it again. So I don't know how accurate that is, but still, even what I'm getting at is, if that is accurate, then that technology, how come we don't have something else to see if we have this respiratory issue that COVID is causing? I don't know. Maybe even just a simple little x-ray or something to see if things are building up in your respiratory systems. That's essentially what it's doing. Not, putting a cane in your nose to touch the back of your skull. That freaks me out. I don't want to do that. If I think I have it, and just don't come around me. I don't want to find out, because the only way you can find out would be far worse for me than actually getting it, I think. So, man, that's all we had for stories. I don't know. Just living life one day at a time, watching for, our governor here in Ohio, Mike DeWine. Guy's a beast. He really front ran all the quarantining and stuff like that, and closing of businesses, and he's doing a heck of a job for what the people want. I know that. He's been commended by the federal government for the way he's treating things. He's kind of been a front runner for, and now Cuomo, the governor of New York, has been doing a lot too. I know he flew to China and got them to donate 1,000 respirators to New York. He has states from the West, like Oregon, donating hundreds of ventilators to him. Because if you look at the dot map of the U.S. on what's all affected, it's the entire East Coast obviously is really bad, and then the West, the west part of the country, western half of the country, is very low in number of cases and people affected in comparison, because everything's socially distant out there anyways. In Wyoming, you're never within 20 feet of anyone you don't live with because there's only 40 people that live there, and it's one of the biggest states. So, but that's why they're all sending their resources over. I even saw the cast, like Grey's Anatomy, donated all of their legit hospital equipment to like New York, to the eastern half of the states. And I don't know, man. Hopefully everything works out. Again, if you know anyone's affected, I hope they're doing well. If you haven't been affected or anyone you know, hopefully you stay healthy. And we'll just have to see how this rides out, because I don't know, whenever they finally do say, okay, everything returns back to normal, is it going to flare back up? Are people still going to be too scared to go anywhere? And then you also have, Gen X or Gen Z, whatever the hell you want to call the generation I'm apparently in, even though I'm one of the youngest people alive and Rebecca is old because she's almost 30. They're salivating to be able to leave their house and go out to the bars and concerts and festivals. And so you would hate to see another flare up, because then you have like a week of being unquarantined and then all these new cases come up and they lock us back down. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. A lot of events are being postponed. Commencement ceremonies from schools are being postponed. Concerts, comedian shows, a ton of anything like that you can think of is all just being pushed back. It's going to be a busy latter half of the year. Weddings are being pushed back. I saw one couple had a wedding on Zoom, and it was like 200 people logged into the Zoom meeting apparently, which is wild. Shout out to Zoom. They're doing the damn thing. You know what? Zoom should have charged everybody like just $5 a month. If they just charged $4.99 for the 1 or 2 months we're in this thing for everybody, forget about it. Everybody's using it. For some reason, it's free, and I don't know where they make their money, because it's not like in the middle of your meeting or like your conference with your family or whatever, you get like ads. I don't know how Zoom makes money, but shout out to them for doing all that for free, because it's helping a lot of people stay connected, which is really cool. So yeah, man, that's all I got. I'm going to try to keep this one short because I'm by myself, and now that we're back on the wagon, I just want to be able to get this edited to get back in the groove of things and get it out to you guys. So I can start considering stuff to do for the next episode. If you have any experiences during this quarantine that are unique or funny, or if you have a bad experience, if you've had it, if you've had COVID or you're close with someone who has it and you have a story to tell or something, reach out to me. Again, if you have my number, shoot me a text. If you don't, go on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We link all the handles in the description below, and shoot Buzzed In a message. We'll try to get a hold of you, whether it's a call, we just record the audio, if we hop on Zoom and record the video, if you want to do that, and we'll try to play our conversation on the next episodes coming. And because that'd be interactive and cool. And like I said, if you have any tips for what to do during quarantining, I know some people are crafting, doing puzzles, they're doing like home improvement stuff, anything like that to help people stay sane, because what a lot of people are going through right now, some people are going through like states of depression because they just have to stay at home and they don't know how to deal with that, and it's unfortunate. So anything like that, reach out to us, drop a comment below, reach out to me, we'll hop on a call, any of that stuff, and we'll try to get your story to the people who watch this, which I know has been dropping as of last time. And I wanted to make that clear as well, because I know we had mentioned how viewers were starting to drop. At one point we were getting almost 200 views a video, and then we went down to like 30 views a video. That does not bother me, and I wanted to make that clear. I know we mentioned it just because we like to share analytics and statistics with you guys about the show, so you know what's going on, so we want you to feel a part of it as well. But it does not bother me. If 15 people watch the show and that's it, but it's the same 15 every week because they thoroughly enjoy the show, or like tuning in, or it gives them something to do while they're bored, or especially during these quarantine times, I don't care if only 15 watch it. So I just want to make that clear, that I did not take a break, or that we did not take a break due to lower viewership, because that does not bother us at all. We pay attention to it because you have to know how your channel and how your show is doing, but that's not the reason at all, and we don't plan on stopping. It was just a really extended break based on trying to adapt to the quarantine, and then I had the vacation, and now Easter just passed, so I figured I gotta hop on here and at least say happy Easter to you guys. So anyways, man, that's gonna do it for this week, I think. Kept it low and tight on stories. No segments because I'm by myself. We'll see if we can come up with something next week or get people to call in. That'd be nice. So I don't know, man, just hit me up if you're just bored and want to talk. I know I'm sick of talking to Rebecca, so if any of you guys want to just get a hold of me and just shoot a message, hey man, how's it going? What's up? What are you doing? That's cool, man, because most of the people that watch the show know me in one fashion or another. Some of you, we haven't talked since like high school. You just see the notifications come up for the show, so you tune in. Shoot me a message. I'd love to see how everybody's doing. And just, new people to talk to. I'm just kidding about being sick of talking to Rebecca, but I'm sure some of you are sick of talking to your significant others or whoever you're quarantined with, since the divorce rates in China skyrocketed once they were lifted off quarantine. But no, we're doing good. We're used to each other enough, and she's always on my hip, so being locked in the house together just means I don't have to do as much. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week, episode 13. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a comment. Don't forget to shoot a message. Don't forget to like the video. If you have not yet subscribed, because I know most of the people that watch our shows have not subscribed, although we are almost at 80 subscribers, which is really cool. We're edging up to 100, and we'll definitely do a giveaway at 100 subscribers because that's a huge landmark for us. So if you haven't subscribed yet, click that button below the video. And that's it, my babies. So I'm going to log off now, and I will see you guys again next week. Again, this is Monday, just to kind of state that. Yesterday was Easter. This will be posted this week. Next week, probably record around the same time, so hopefully we can get back on this weekly grind. So that's it. Episode 14 coming next week, and until then, stay buzzed in.